Hey, good Saturday afternoon. I'm meteorologist Taylor Cox. Thanks for joining us today. As the title reads, we are talking about Hurricane Erin, a hurricane that I think surprised a lot of people this morning as it grew in intensity to a Category 5 hurricane. Stronger and faster than what we expected originally. We didn't expect it to get Category 4 even hurricane until tomorrow. So this was a rapidly intensifying storm early this morning. We're going to go through the track here. We're going to go through that intensification and we're going to go through the forecast and what we expect them to do as we head into the work week and as we head into a time that it gets a little bit closer to the US. You know, what's it going to do that off the bat? That this has a very low likelihood, extremely low likelihood of making landfall in the US, have to be impacting the contiguous 48 on the East Coast. And so we'll talk about that and exactly what that means. But before we get into that, let me make sure that my mic is on. Low likelihood. All right. And you guys can hear me. We'll do a little bit of housekeeping real quick. As always, put your weather questions in the comments section. I can see on my side of the screen, and then I'll be able to answer those as I see them pop up. Let's go ahead and get some people watching from on this Saturday afternoon. Lots of Twitter, few Facebook, a few YouTube as well. A lot of people joining on from Twitter right now. So what you're looking at is Tropical Tidbits website. This is infrared satellite imagery of Erin right now. We've got a few islands down here to the south. So it's passing just to the north of the Leeward Islands right. Thankfully, that core and all the strongest winds are off islands, so it's not going to make landfall on these islands right here. However, it will drop about 2 to 4 inches of rain on these islands, creating a dangerous hazard for flash flooding and mudslides in the area. Just right off the bat, what we can see from this eye wall right here is that we are seeing that eye wall start to narrow, a little bit smaller. Right now, it's at about 5 nautical miles, and so whenever we see it go through eye wall replacement, it could grow in size. So we could see this storm a little bit bigger, but we could also see this storm start to weaken as well. So it's about to reach peak intensity, and then we could see it weaken. And actually, I've got a great graph that shows that. So let's go to GR Earth. All right, there's our GR Earth right here. I've got multiple screens, so you're going to see me look up to my other screen up here so I can show you exactly what's going on. So here's your track. Let me take off. So track, we've got Category 5 Hurricane Erin right now. That's going to continue to track to the northwest and then more of a northerly turn as it weakens to Category 4 hurricane. Still a major hurricane as we head into Monday, Tuesday. I think this right here. Yeah, you guys can't see that box, but it's popping up for me. It's about 45 hours from now. We've got 57 hours from now, 69 hours from now. And then finally, as we get into the work week, this will weaken into a Cat 3, Cat 4, Cat 3 by the middle of the week, and about 120 hours from now, Cat 2 hurricane as it gets into some colder water farther up here to the north. Now you see probably a lot of numbers on here. Each of these colors are different models. So each of these colors represent a different model that takes in different factors into consideration. We may have some different outputs, but we do have a lot of consistency here with the direction that this storm is going, the track that it's going to go to. And I mean, you can see just the distance off the East Coast. We've got a big barrier in between and this hurricane. So while we could expect some strong winds and maybe some really large waves on the East Coast, no landfall is likely. Now let's turn off our forecast models and let's see exactly what Erin is doing right now. So let's see. There we go, National Hurricane Center, and let's turn on our GOES. There you go. Okay. So there's your hurricane. I apologize. It's going to flash some crazy colors here for just for a minute. And give it a minute for all of this data to update. There you go. And you can see a very, very clear, well-defined eye wall right there. You can see all of those clouds and those outer bands that are moving into places like Cruz Bay and the Leeward Islands right now. Right now, the storm is just to the north of the Leeward Islands. And actually, do you want to take a look inside of that eye wall? I have a really cool graphic to show you. We're just going to be going back and forth between my different apps here. All right, take a look at this. The National Hurricane Center earlier this morning graphic from, or a picture, excuse me, a picture from inside of the hurricane. On the far left side of your screen right here, this is inside of the eye wall right here. It's calm, it's really, really clear over here. But then you go just out a little bit further into some of those bands, the outer side of the eye wall, and holy moly, look at the waves that we're seeing in this hurricane. Really, really impressive. So again, this is images from the hurricane hunters this morning. This was posted by the National Hurricane Center at about 8:42 Central Time. And what they're saying here is they're saying that Ocean Winds team show an intense eye wall in Hurricane Erin. This photo shows the ocean surface calm there on the left side of your screen, and the eye and roaring in the eye wall. And people are saying that's an awesome photo. Yeah, that's really cool. Don't forget, for those who are hopping on right now, to comment where you're watching from. Let us know where you guys are watching from. I can see your comments over here on the side of the screen. What other questions do you have for us? Let's talk about some of the products that the National Hurricane Center provides us. So there's Hurricane Erin, pressure right now at 915. Remember, the lower that pressure, the stronger that storm. 915, that's pretty impressive. It's really impressive. It's moving to the west-northwest right now at about 16 miles an hour. Now, we want it to have more of that northwest turn to stay away from these islands. If it continues to track to the west, then it's going to have more of an impact on some of these tropical areas. We've got another area farther up north that goes into the mid-Atlantic, southern side of the Atlantic here. 48 hours, 10% chance for cyclone formation, and 7 days away, 10% chance. Not terribly impressive. I think that we've got some cooler waters up there. And I wish I could have access to my graphics that I usually show, and we could take a look at the shear and different products. But I do not have access to those right now. Let's see if the National Weather Service has given us any more, or National Hurricane Center has given us any more information here. Earlier, the National Hurricane Center was describing Erin as explosive. So yes, it's a rare Category 5 hurricane. About every 100 named storms turns in about out of every 100 named storms, 6 of those turn into Category 5 hurricanes. So it's about a 6% chance to get a Category 5 hurricane. And something that I thought was really interesting is the first hurricane of this season, of this 2025 Atlantic hurricane season, turned into a Cat 5. And the first hurricane of the 2024 hurricane season, Beryl, if you remember that, also turned into a Cat 5. So I thought that was a really interesting random fact to give you guys this morning. Quite a random fact there. Anything else from my notes that we haven't talked about yet? Hey, if you want more information, we did a blog this morning about Hurricane Erin, and we go through and we talk about the track. We put some of the most up-to-date graphics in here. We also talk about why this is happening. I thought this was really, really interesting. So what we have across the East Coast, or really across the Mississippi Valley right now, is we've got a high pressure system setting up that's trapping in all of that heat, and it's making it really, really hot for a lot of people across the U.S. So if we take a look at weather.gov, we see that we've got heat advisories galore across the entirety of Missouri, across Iowa, Illinois, the eastern portions of Nebraska, Kansas, Oklahoma, Texas, Louisiana, Mississippi, all included in this Sorry, I'm getting a little distracted on what's going on across the street. Anyway, all included in this heat advisory. So going back to my little graphic over here, we've got a high pressure system that's setting up in this area that's trapping in that heat, creating temperatures up in the upper 90s, but feeling more like 100 degrees plus. What is happening? Why is this important? Why is the heat that we have to suffer through today important for that hurricane? Well, that high pressure system basically repels this hurricane and it pushes it off to the east and it gets it out of the east coast. So it's going to push that storm off farther off to the east, and it's going to prevent it from coming any further west onto the east coast. So I thought that was really impressive. Now, this hurricane, to sustain its strength, it needs to take the path of least resistance, which means it kind of needs to go in between these two high pressure systems that don't want it anywhere around. So hurricanes are low pressure systems. They'll go right in the middle there. And so that's why we're seeing that very sharp turn to the north and not a ton of impacts to the East Coast. Now, I think it will be interesting because it looks like this high pressure system starts to weaken pretty significantly into the middle of the work week, and it'll be pushed off, or we'll have another one forming farther off into the western side of the US. So what will happen then? Will this storm have the opportunity to track a little bit farther to the west and a little bit closer to the US? We'll have to watch. But yeah, this blog talks a lot about Hurricane 5 storms, Hurricane 5, Category hurricanes. There you go. It also talks about the forecast that we have for the next few months. What are we expecting for the rest of the 2025 hurricane season? Well, Hail Trace meteorologists, we've got 17 meteorologists at Hail Trace. They're talking about we are still expecting a normal to above normal hurricane season. We've got about 5 named storms so far. We're expecting at least, at minimum, 7 more named storms, totaling 12 to 17 named storms this year. 6 to 10 named hurricanes, or 6 to 10 hurricanes, and 2 to 3 major hurricanes. We've already got 1 major hurricane. Can we get another one? Great question. We'll have to see. Here's your named storms so far. We had Andrea, Barry, Chantal, Dexter, Erin, our first hurricane of the season. And of course, as you learned this morning, that grew to strengthen to a Category 5 hurricane. And there you go. There's your forecast. We talked about your forecast. We talked about eyewall, showed some pictures as well. I don't see any weather questions on here right now, so make sure that you share this, send this to your friends. We wanted to do just a very quick update, give you what you need to know, and then hop off and let you enjoy the rest of your Saturday. This is your reminder to drink lots of water. It's hot out there today. A lot of us across the US are feeling temperatures 100 degrees and above, and oftentimes we forget to actually check the storm forecast. What's happening today? All right, we've got a tornado risk across the southern side of Wisconsin and northern side of Illinois. A wind risk for a good portion of the northern plains and portions of the Midwest, including Chicago. And what about that hail risk? Rapid City and La Crosse. Minneapolis, it's not looking promising for hail right now. Probably a little bit more favorable farther to the south. You know, it tried yesterday. We really tried to get some hail across Minneapolis yesterday. We got about quarter-size hail to the north, west, and south side of the city, but not in the city itself from what I saw. Of course, Hail Trace has all of those maps for you updated at hailtrace.com. And do we have any severe weather going on right now? Yeah, we got a few severe thunderstorm warnings headed into Milwaukee. All righty. There's Milwaukee. These warnings are for 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts, no hail expected in this long warning, just a line of storms that it's going to be a wind maker. Maybe some small hail going into Madison right now. So Madison, Wisconsin. This storm back to your west is warned for quarter-size hail. and 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts. And it looks like they just released the severe thunderstorm that was on the Beaver Dam, Fall River, Sun Prairie storm. You have a mezzo discussion. See, 60% chance to see a severe thunderstorm watch issued in the next few minutes. The storms that you're looking at right now are left over from some overnight storms that have tracked into this area. And the biggest thing that you're going to be watching for with these storms is high wind gusts. I think your hail risk is pretty small. National Weather Service said you could see up to golf balls. I think that's pretty low chance. Not quite sure you could see that in this area today. All righty, there's your forecast. There's your hurricane forecast. We'll leave you on hurricane data. Where is it? There it is. Okay, have a fantastic Saturday. Like, subscribe, follow. You guys know the drill here. We'll see you back here for your forecast on Monday. We may see you before then if we've got more hurricane forecast updates to give you. All right, have a fantastic Saturday. See you soon.